Hi, I'm Kendra from 18centuryhair.com, and I am here to give a quick video tutorial on how to wear an 18th century style wig in such a way that it looks like your own hair. What I'm going to show you expands on the book that I wrote called 18th Century Hair and Wig Styling, History and Step-by-Step Techniques. And this is a book that's all about how to achieve the kinds of hairstyles you see right here on the cover, spanning the entire 18th century, both hairstyles and wigs, both men's and women's styles. I'm going to be demonstrating this with a really tall style wig, but this technique will work for any wig, men's or women's, of the 18th century. And if you're interested in learning more about how to achieve these hairstyles and wigs yourself, you can check out my book at 18centuryhair.com. You don't need to be a professional hairdresser or wig styler to achieve these looks. It's very doable, and the book focuses on using modern theatrical techniques, taking advantage of those in order to achieve a historically accurate look. So I'm going to focus on how to do this if you have some length to your hair yourself. But first I'm going to talk for those people who have short hair, which obviously I don't, but let's use our imagination a little bit. If you have short hair, you can still wear these styles of wigs. The important thing to do is going to be to create something for your wig to anchor to. There are two techniques that you can use, and you can use them both together or separately. Together would be more secure. That will help. The first thing is to get an elasticized headband, the kind that has, of course you totally can't see this, it has a rubberized bit on the underside to really help it grip to your hair. Apparently there are also headbands that you can buy that are specifically made in this style to wear with wigs for people with no hair or really short hair, and you can get those from wig stores, online or in person. This kind that I'm showing you is just a fashion style, women's fashion style. So men and women can use this. And what you'll want to do is pull whatever hair you do have back using this headband. And this is going to give you some kind of stability here along the hairline to attach your wig to. So the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to anchor this headband. It probably won't move too much, but sometimes it can sort of pull back. And so what you're going to want to do is anchor it with some bobby pins. I'm using white bobby pins in the hopes that they will show up against my darker hair. Obviously, you know, you'll use bobby pins that match your own hair color. And what you're going to want to do is create X's right sort of at the top each side of your hairline. So there I've got two X's. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. And that's going to really give me some stability up top. If you have enough hair that you can actually make a pin curl, you can do that underneath these X'd bobby pins. And what I mean by a pin curl is where you take a little bit of your own hair and you twist it up and you make a teensy little flat bun. Let's see if I can do this in such a way that you can see it. If you can get enough hair to do a twist like that, do that and then put the bobby pins on top of them. And that is even more stable. I'll be showing you that in a few seconds. Okay, so that's the first thing to know if you have really short hair. The next thing you're going to want to do is hide the wig's hairline. The place that a wig looks most unnatural is around the face. Most people don't tend to notice what's going on back down in here. If you care, during the 18th century, men were very into wearing very obvious wigs. They didn't worry about hiding their hairline because everybody was wearing wigs and everyone knew you were wearing a wig. But as the century progressed, ideas changed about being more natural, and so then they did start to hide the hairline. Women almost always hid the hairline because women generally didn't wear full wigs. There was the idea that women were still supposed to look natural. And so usually what they did is add hair pieces and pads and things like that to style their own hair. Obviously you can still do that today, but I love the convenience of being able to plop a wig on my head and go, because then I don't spend my entire day of the event doing my hair. I can do it ahead of time, a month, a week, a year, whatever, and have it done. Okay, so if you have really short hair, what you're going to want to do before you've done any of the bits you've just seen, what you're going to want to do first is just pull a little bit of fringe along your hairline. And what I mean by that is just pull some wispies along your hairline out. Obviously my hair is long, but pretend it's short. And you're going to use these wisps in the same way that I'm going to show you with a bit more hair for those who have longer hair. So what you'll be doing is doing this all along the hairline, and we'll then work this little bit of wisp into the wig. I'm not going to show you obviously because I don't have short hair, but that's going to be the idea. Okay, so for those of you who have a little bit of length to a lot of length, the rest of this tutorial is going to focus on that. So the first thing that we need to do is separate hair that's going to mask the hairline. Just like for those who have short hair, you can just use wisps. I prefer to use more like about a 1/2 inch thickness of hair around the face line because if you just use wisps when you walk up to somebody and you're standing at kind of conversational distance, you can still see the wig hairline through there. If you use thicker, about 1/2 inch, you really can't tell that someone's wearing a wig, at least from the front, which is mostly where you're going to be looking. So what we're going to do is part the hair all the way around the hairline about 1/2 inch. Now I'm doing this into a camera, so everything is reversed, so I'm going to be klutzy about this, and I apologize. So what we want to do is just make a parting around the hairline, about 1/2 inch or so's thickness of hair. This is not scientific. And it's going to take me longer because, again, everything is backwards to me. And just so I don't lose it, I'm clipping it, and now I'm going to do the other side. I'm going to clip this little bit of hair around the hairline out of the way. Okay, so now we have this little bit parted right around the hairline. Now what we need to do is get rid of the rest of our hair. But we're not just going to shove all this hair under a wig because we need something stable to attach the wig to. Otherwise, it's not going to be pretty and the wig will be doing this all night and you will die. You won't die, you will suffer. Okay. So what we want to do now is get the rest of the hair out of the way. And there's 2 things that I recommend. Most commercial wigs, which is what I show you how to start with, is to take a commercial wig and turn it into one of these 18th century styles. Most of them have some extra room down in here to tuck your hair. And so that's what I recommend doing, is getting your hair somewhere down to the nape of the neck and putting it up somehow there. Some people like to do 2 braids. So literally braiding the hair from here. As long as you do it tight, that's fine. And make sure obviously to put a rubber band or something on the end. So you can do 2 braids starting there, and then you'll be tucking those up. Or you can do buns, which is what I'm going to do. But there's one other thing we want to do before we get that hair up. And that is we want to take one more section of hair up top. And this is going to create an extra anchor for our hair. So what I'm doing is parting a chunk of hair up on top of my head. And this hair we're going to do something different with. This is not scientific, it's just sort of a chunk right up on top of your head. Okay, and just leave that separate for right now. I'm going to pin it out of my face so I can still talk to you. Okay, so now what we need to do is now the rest of this hair goes away. Okay. And again, whatever you do needs to be very secure and tight because your wig will be being bobby pinned and clipped to this. Okay, so what I like to do is pull the hair tight and do 2 buns. So all I do is part my hair down at the nape of the neck in 2 parts, twist it, and roll it around into buns, and then pin it to the head, using at least 4 bobby pins and making sure that they cross each other. What I mean by crossing each other is whenever you use bobby pins, you want to use two, and you want to make sure that they interlock like this, somewhere along their length. It doesn't matter exactly where it is. This is incredibly stable when two bobby pins cross each other. So when I'm doing my bun, I'm essentially doing this with two more bobby pins. You'll notice before when I did the headband, again, I did X'd bobby pins. A bobby pin like this is just going to move around. Bobby pins like this, anchored to each other, are much more stable. Okay, so now I'm going to do the other side. And again, I look like a klutz because everything is backwards to me. So I'm just twisting it up and twisting it into a bun and using 4 bobby pins, Xing them so that they really hold on to each other. Okay. That gets the bulk of your hair out of the way, and you should be doing all this tightly. Now we have something relatively stable to anchor the wig to. There's one other thing though that we're going to do, and that's this bit up top. We're going to make the 2 pin curls that I talked about. And notice I even parted this weirdly. There's a section in front. That'll be fine. So even if you have short hair, if you have enough hair to do this, this really helps. And so what I'm going to do is separate this hair into 2 sections, twist it up as tight as I can, and then keep twisting to create a flat bun or pin curl. And again, I'm going to use bobby pins to pin this flat to my head, and I'm going to crisscross them. Okay. It's not beautiful, but it doesn't need to be. No one's going to see this. Apparently I can't part my hair to save my life. It's the mirror, or it's the camera. Everything being backwards is so weird. So even if you can do this with just one loop around, this will really help improve stability. So now I have 2 messy buns on top of my head. Doesn't matter, the wig's going to go over all of this. And then I have my separate parted hair around my hairline. Okay, so now, look like a dork. Now we're going to put the wig on. So in addition to the simpler styles worn earlier in the century, this is a wig that you can do. It's not an exact copy of one from the book, but it uses the principles of the book. And it's a lovely, tall 1770s style wig. So my recommendation when you're making any wig is to attach wig clips to the inside front of the hairline, right up on top. Wig clips are little combs that snap, like those barrettes used to wear in 2nd grade. Okay. And you can get them at wig shops online or brick and mortar. They're called wig clips or toupee clips or comb clips. And you're going to get 2, and you're going to sew them into the wig before you style it. And the key thing is these combs, they open and shut. So right now, let's see if I can show you. It's open with the combs pointing down towards your head. When you snap it, it holds really tightly to even a little bit of hair. And these combs are what are going to go into this really stable portion on top of your head. And you're going to shove those combs into the front of this and then snap them shut. It's very much a process done by feel. I can't show you, so pardon me while I fuss around with my wig for a second. Okay. And that is going to end up doing the bulk of the stabilization of the wig. The next thing we'll do is pull the wig down and back over the back buns. And now it's still not very secure. I mean, it definitely feels tight here, but it's going to wobble around. And so what we need to do is do bobby pins. And we do bobby pins at the temples. And again, mine are white. You would be using bobby pins that match your hair and wig color. So I'm just taking the temple and pulling it down in front of my ear. and making X's with the bobby pins. And so then the next thing we're going to do is do the same thing in back at the nape of the neck. So we've pulled the wig down over our buns, and what I'm going to do is X bobby pins either at sort of the bottom or just right along the side here, wherever you can get to it. And that's going to further stabilize things. And I'm not saying that the wig still doesn't move, but as long as you don't go headbanging, it's not going to move very much. Okay, so now is where we're going to use this hair we parted around the face. Now you'll notice my wig is curly. Normally what I would have done is taken this, parted this hair the night before and put it into little pin curls or curlers and slept on it. Obviously wet the hair first. You could use a curling iron too, whatever, or hot rollers, whatever works best for you. And what we're going to do, even if these were the little wisps that we were talking about earlier with people with short hair or longer hair, this thicker hair, we're going to take this hair and we're going to comb it up into the wig like this. And obviously, you know, if I had curled it, the texture would match better. So what I'm going to do is take some serious hairspray. Only aerosol hairspray. Do not show me one of those little pump, nice, for the environment, whatever types of hairsprays. I want aerosol. My favorite is Bedhead Hard Head. There are a couple other ones that are extra super hard hairsprays, and that's what we're going to use. I am a committed environmentalist, but not when it comes to historical hair. So we're going to take a comb, and we're going to comb the hair up and hairspray enthusiastically. And while the hairspray is still wet, we're going to comb it up and sort of fan it a little bit, trying to create coverage that's even. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing over here. Pull the hair up and hairspray it. Attempt to breathe. Do this in a ventilated space. Okay. And you're just going to keep combing and fanning and hairspraying. Now, if you're only using wisps, you should be able to do this with hairspray alone. Since I'm using a little bit more, I recommend using some bobby pins. The key thing is you don't want to just bobby pin straight across. Obviously, that's going to show even if the bobby pin matches. What you want to do is take a little bit of the hair and then stick the bobby pin in to the hair so that just the little end shows. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab a little bit of that, my own hair, and then I'm going to tuck the bobby pin either in and down, whatever, so that just that little end is there. And if that matched my own hair color, you really wouldn't see it. I'm using white for contrast. Wherever you feel you need to, you can do this. And this will just sort of keep your hair from falling down under the weight of itself. And obviously, since I have a decoration here, it might be good if I actually got the hair under the decoration. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay. And so anywhere you can grab the ends, and again, I've got some decoration up top. So that's a really easy place to stick some bobby pins. And here it really doesn't matter whether or not I hide them because they're going to get hidden by the froofy bit up top. Go. Okay. Okay, and now more hairspray. Endless hairspray. And more combing. That will really help to get the wispy bits up. And I could do this much better if it wasn't all backwards. backwards. If you still have wispy bits sort of pulling away from your face, a really cool technique that you can do that's very easy and cheap is hairspray your hair and take a length of toilet paper and smooth it up like this. The thing about the toilet paper, really, I think maybe it doesn't have any static, I don't know, really encourages your hair to smooth up and not sort of pull back away. And now I have to back up just to show you. There we go. There's your 18th century style wig. Everyone's going to think is your own hair, and you're going to answer questions about all night and look fabulous. Most people are going to think that that is all your own hair. And they're going to think that you have mad hair skills. And you sort of do. What you really have is mad wig skills. So that is how to make one of these 18th century style wigs look like it's your own hair. If you'd like to learn how to make one of these huge style wigs or something a little bit more sedate for the same era, or one of the simpler styles earlier, or a men's style, whatever, you name it, check out my book, 18th Century Hair and Wig Styling, which you can buy at 18thcenturyhair.com. And it goes over a detailed section on the history of hair, showing you pictures and information, decade by decade, women and men. It talks about different techniques that you'll want to use, modern theatrical techniques for working with wigs, and then it will walk you through how to make 25 different styles of wigs and hairstyles. Most of them can be done on either a wig or someone's own hair, and you too can have mad hair game.